People of God, how y'all doing? You all right? I'm doing fine on cloud nine. I'm here in Chicago, Illinois. I'm on a street called Lakeshore Drive, and it's actually was renamed after John Point Baptiste Point du Sable. John Baptiste Point du Sable. That's him. He's the first settler here in Chicago. Black man. Took all these years to give him a street. Listen, you all. What are you doing with the 90%? You see, the church have browbeat you about the 10%, 10% tithe, which means 10th part. And the tithe payers are so proud, until it became a cultish club of elite warriors, the tithe payers. Proudly, they cannot wait for offering time. They cannot wait for the financier, whoever's up there raising that offering. They can't wait for their clue or cue. Raise that envelope in the air. This is my seed. It is a public spectacle. And they look down on those who don't have the money to give. They look down on them. And those tithe payers have the same attitude that those who say that they were filled with the Holy Ghost. Yes, I said it right, Holy Ghost. You see, during testimony service, we stood up and said, I thank God for being here, been saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, fire baptized, running for my life. I'm not tired yet. That with a mighty burning fire. Pray that I be the one Lord called these last and evil days. Some added the pastor in there. Thank God for the pastor. And if he was still in his office, they would say, thank God for the pastor and his absence. Lakeshore Drive is a bumpy street back there. It's gonna smooth out from this moment. It's gonna smooth out from this moment on. Then it's gonna get really bumpy when I get into the black neighborhood. Yeah, well, sorry to tell y'all, but Lakeshore Drive don't go into the black neighborhood. But then again, it does. If you live in Jackson Park. So the person who said, I got filled with the Holy Ghost, gets up proudly and proclaims that in his testimony service. Look down on those who get up and say, pray that I receive the Holy Ghost, the baptism of the Holy Ghost. And then y'all have Pentecostal Sunday once a year, and then that's the day you got to be filled with the Holy Ghost. If not, you got to wait another year, unless there's a revival going on at some point in that year. See, I know how this works. This is the system that maybe Ty Trippett was speaking of. So there's a group of elite people who are in the church. We're supposed to have all things in common, and our bodies all have many parts, and one is not unequal to the other. One is not more glorious than the other. These are the scripts that we use, and I've been hearing, and I use those same scripts until I stopped. My point again of coming forth is about the 90%. We hear about the 10, but we don't hear about the 90. And when we do, they tell you to give a little extra for an offering. That's part of your 90. And then you got to get a sacrificial offering. That's part of the 90. And then you got to give a pastoral offering. That's part of the 90. And then you got to give a church anniversary offering. That's part of the 90. You got to give a speaker's offering. That's part of the 90. And then the speaker, when he gets through, he's going to raise another offering, which is a part of the 90. So how much of that 90 can you use for yourself? No one knows. No one preaches about it. And the only investment advice you're going to get from church is tithe. That's the only investment advice you get. They will never tell you about ETFs. They won't tell you about index funds. They won't tell you about Roth IRAs. They're not going to tell you about 401ks and pensions. And they won't tell you even about cryptocurrency. They won't tell you. Why? They don't know, and they don't use those products themselves. So they don't know much about those products. So it's easier to give a magic sermon that tenth is going to solve all your problems. Yet, only between 5 to 7% of Christians, all Christians in America, tithe. That's it. But the focus on investment, so you're speaking to an audience of 5%. So what are you going to do with the 90? You can't find out what to do with the 90% at church. No. You come to church and they're going to teach you about a tax, which is the 10. The problem with that is that the ones who are just giving the 10, they are robbing, because over time, there are 4 tithes, and out of the 4 tithes combined, it will equal about 23%. So the average tithe payer gives only 10. That's it. And they don't think about the other parts of the 23%. So they stand up excited that they are doing something that God told them to do, and they do it, they say, because they are expecting blessings to come back. And the ones who are not giving, I see, are being blessed as those people are, and some are more blessed in these tithes, but yet they stand proud like they're part of a fraternal order. And when I see fraternities come around me and what have you, do their little steps and have their hats and coats on and what have you, they're so proud to be a part of that. And fraternities don't benefit me whatsoever. Me not being a part of it don't benefit me whatsoever. It's the same with those who are part of the Kappa Kappa Tithe. In their churches, they are so proud to be a part of that fraternity, believing that fraternity is bringing them wealth, in a sense. But most of them still live check to check. Why? Because they have a rallying cry just like fraternities and sororities. They have a steppers party. It happens every Saturday during offering. Y'all understand? Are you mad yet? So what do we do with the 90? Let me tell you, brothers and sisters, moms and dads, boys and girls, I need you to start saving. You don't know how to invest yet. I need you to start saving. Something is coming. We've been telling you that all your life, and then something comes and then it goes away, but always something else is coming. The average American do not have $1,000 saved for an emergency. They just don't. And the pandemic showed the churches something amazing, that many of you had an opportunity to restart. You can reset. Many churches didn't reopen. Yours probably did. And it's not about reopening a church house. It's about reopening your heart to Christ. And then putting your money where your mouth is. What are you going to do with the 90%? You need to save. Start putting monies away into a high-yielding account if you can. If you can't, just put it in the bank until you find a nice high-yielding account. Typically, an online bank are the best high-yielding accounts because they don't have large overheads like a traditional brick-and-mortar bank. Keep saving monies. Put 10% of your money away. When you get a check, a paycheck, what have you, peel off $20. That ain't gonna hurt you, is it? Y'all, you spend that on McDonald's anyway. Every time you get money in your hand, peel off something like you do the Kappa Kappa Tithe people. You peel it off and put it in your bank. Open up a separate savings account, or open up an online bank, and just shove it in there. Just shove it. Don't even count it. Just shove it. Just keep every pay period. Shove it. Shove it. Shove it. Shove it. Keep doing that month after month after month. Shove it. You're gonna thank me until you get an understanding of what investment is, and then you can find a product that's best for you that will serve you. I like index funds. I put it in and I set it and I forget it. I'm not a day trader. You can go over to Stock Up with Larry Jones and he'll teach you that stuff. I don't do penny stocks. I don't do exchange trades, ETFs. I put my money in an index fund. I dib and dab with cryptocurrency, but that's just me. But I know how much I can lose, and so I can mess with that. But when it comes to investments, I like the stock market. I like index funds. That's what I do. Until you learn that system, which I'm going to teach you on Patreon.com this week. Patreon.com, the Sirwalterj Jones Show. Until you learn about investing in index funds and Roth IRAs, IRAs. And I don't have to teach you about 401ks, do I? All right, we can do something with that. Until you understand those products, you need to be putting money away and saving it. You got to do it. You need to do it. Don't get extended warranties on nothing from Best Buy. When you buy a car, you may not even. I didn't get no gap insurance. I didn't get no extended warranties on nothing. What I do, I saved. I put that money away, and then when something broke on this car, I went into my savings. You understand? And I pulled that money out and I fixed everything on this car. This car is a 2014. It drives like it's brand new because I rebuilt it with the money that I saved. I didn't have to. So, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Are you going to keep going to a brick and mortar church and they're telling you they don't even know how to? They don't know really nothing about money management. They really don't know much about that stuff. They're going to tell you what to do with your money, and you're going to keep listening to them, and then you still living check to paycheck. Even though you're making $100,000 or more, you still poor. Why? Because you saw how much money you made, and every time you got a raise or what have you, you start to buy more stuff that you didn't need. You want the biggest and the baddest car. You bought the biggest house, and you got a whole lot of stuff that you done purchased. So you lose your job. You lose six-figure income, which means that you in the same bracket as many of those poor people sitting in those benches at church who can't stand because they're not part of the Kappa Tithe. I don't care how much money you make. You can be making $200,000. I got friends who are making $200,000 and $300,000. Yet they can't afford to lend me $100. Why? Debt ratio is too high. It's too high. And if you live in certain areas like New York and LA or something like that, even here in Chicago, middle income people, you have to be making about $57,000, maybe $55,000 is lower middle class. Lower middle class is those who are making 55, and it goes up to mid $100,000 a year is middle class for Chicago. Last I checked, middle class. Now that's a shame. So if you're making $100,000 and you live in one of them cities like California, you make $100,000, you are middle class. You are mid to low middle class. Never thought I'd say that. Save your money. Peel off everything you get. Peel off a percentage and pay yourself first. You got to do it. Something's coming. You're going to need that money. And then spend some time. Let's talk this week on patreon.com, Sirwalterj Show. Let's talk about your money. Let's spend every day talking about it. What you need to do, women, you're in your 50s and 60s and 70s. What you need to do, you on a fixed income, all right? Let's talk about you. There's so many things to talk about, okay? The 90% is the name of this show here. What are you going to do? Who's teaching you what to do with it? I'll do it this week. I'm almost in the black area because it's getting really bumpy over here. Really bumpy. Lakeshore Drive, Chicago, Illinois. It's 37 degrees. It is March the, I don't even know what time. I don't even know. What's today's date, y'all? March 22, maybe? I don't know. 23? I don't even know. All I know is I'm so glad to be alive. I'm so glad to be alive. The who stadium over there? The Bears stadium over here. The stadium that Walter Payton built. And the refrigerator Perry right there. It looked like a spaceship. I can't show it to you, but that is the Chicago Bears. All right, y'all, let's talk. Patreon.com, Sirwalterj Show. Sign up for the finance room. And all this week, let's figure out what we can do to help you get some money saved and to get out of debt. Let's talk about credit cards, especially. What you need to do. Some of you got some ridiculous credit card debts. I'm glad I paid off my credit cards, but I had to be aggressive in it. Let's talk about it this week, okay? Pay off your low balance first, all right? Not high interest first, low balance. If you got a credit card that's $500 and then you got a credit card that's $5,000 and you got a credit card that's $10,000, pay off the $500 card first. Do you understand? It's a psychological thing. You get rid of the stuff that's easy to get to. Be a predator, like they did for you. Predatory lending. That's how you got those cards. That's how you got out there, because they profiled you. You were subprime to them. So now you got to act like your credit cards are subprime to you and profile them. Look at the one that's you only owe $500 on it, or whichever's the lowest. Profile them. Pay those off. Be a predator by paying off your debt. Make sense? Now you know.